Hello everyone and welcome to episode 5 of Izuna Talk. Today it's a particular episode. We're not talking about action games this time, but arcade games actually. So today's guest is Jaimers, super player I should say, and expert of Shmups and arcade games. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Not sure if I'd call myself that, but it's fine.
Oh, you don't consider yourself a super player?
I'm pretty good, but there's some really good people out there. So
As usual, the first question is, how did you start with video games? Like, when did you start playing them, enjoying them, be passionate about it? Video games in general.
uh, I guess like when I was like 5 years old, I guess. I think I got like when I got like the first Game Boy, I guess. I think, but with like Super Mario Land, like the first game. Yeah, I think that was my first exposure, I guess, to like video games. But we also had like a console at home and a PC. The console I grew up with was the CDI, which you might have heard of.
Yeah, that's a strange one to start with.
Yeah, I have all of the classic games like Hotel Mario and Zelda and Link: The Faces of Evil. Yeah,
Oh wow!
I have them still like right here. And,
So I'm guessing the first Zelda was
yes,
that
that was
one.
my first like, introduction to Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, that's one hell of a first impression.
Yeah, I had a special childhood. It trained me. It trained me
So and when did?
for video games, definitely.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And so and why? When did you start to like become really passionate about it?
I think I've always been like pretty passionate.
Mm-hmm. So from the
Yeah,
start, yeah.
always been like interested in like challenging games. Thought that was also like really fun
Mm-hmm.
to like put effort in to try to beat them, and then get like a satisfying. So it's really satisfying when you beat them. Um,
Sure.
yeah, I've always been kind of into those kind of games.
Mm-hmm. And how did you start with like arcade games? Like, did you used to go to the arcade, or did you just play at home? And like, what was your first introduction to shmups or to arcade games in
Now I'm
general?
not old enough to have experienced arcades, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
agree.
not, especially in my country. They're not really. They're not a lot of arcades in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't actually like get introduced to arcade games until after I like was into Toho like quite a lot for quite a few
Mm-hmm. So
yeah
you
quite a
started
few
with all.
years, yeah. And I was pretty good into Toho at that time, and like at the forum that everyone used to visit
Mm-hmm.
then, we had like a thread in like off topic where we like
Sure.
play like other shmups besides Toho. We like there's like a
Mm-hmm.
weekly it was like a weekly game every week where like try out one of these not Toho shmups. And it was
Okay.
always pretty good fun. And like after a while, there was like a big tournament coming up in like Shmups Forum, like the official, the big one at the
Mm-hmm.
time. Not really anymore, but then the moderator of that thread like asked if we would like to like make a team to participate there. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, me and a bunch of others did that, and it ended up like being really fun. We ended up kind of like crushing like everyone in there. It was really fun, yeah, because like Toho kind of had like a stigma at that time. Was in like the
Yeah.
shmup scene, so it was really fun to like crush everyone. So, that's,
Which store was that?
like all of them really.
Oh,
That's
okay.
like for
Okay.
general Toho form. But yeah, basically
Mm-hmm.
from that point onwards, I get more like involved in like the arcade scene, the arcade shmup scene. That kind of like
Mm-hmm.
snowballed from there. So basically, kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah. And do you think like there is still a stigma attached to Toho in the community, or like that got away, and now people just enjoy both like Toho and both like traditional shmups like
It
Cape?
become a lot less these days. There's still like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
some boomers, I guess I'd say, that
Yeah.
are not really approve of Toho. But basically
Mm-hmm.
everyone I know just doesn't care. They're both good shmups, so who cares?
Yeah. What was the stigma actually? Like, why did people usually hate Toho? Like, was it because like cute girls doing shooting? It was about the scoring, about the difficulty of the games. Like,
I this
what
it's
were
the usual
people?
really, like anime,
Mm-hmm.
the girls and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not manly
Okay.
enough, like
It's not Mel, you know.
like the Cave and Katsui, like the manliest games ever made, and planes and fighter jets and explosions and all that stuff. But yeah, it was pretty silly. It's pretty silly, really.
Yeah, yeah. Always been pretty silly. So and then you started with like our traditional shmups, cave stuff and stuff like that. So now I'm curious, what do you prefer between the two? Like, do you prefer like Toho? Do you prefer traditional ones? Of course, you like them both, but
Yeah, I think nowadays I prefer like cave games because they're
mm-hmm,
like level design wise, they're a lot more like exciting and interesting for me personally.
sure,
It's also a lot more fun to like, also visually more interesting, especially, and the scoring is a lot more fun as well, a lot more visually. It's a lot very satisfying feeling to seeing like a screen like completely filled with like times 30,000. That's it's really
sure.
satisfying, just completely filled with gold, like the juicy cancels and all that stuff. it's a it's a lot more
Mm-hmm,
interesting for me. So that's I want to be.
sure. And did you like? I'm really curious about something. Did you? How did you approach the genre at first? Like, of course, shmups are incredibly difficult. So how did you like when you started with Toe? Did you approach them like playing casually, or did you just go for one CC or score run immediately?
Um, I think at first I just like played the game, just tried to see
Mm-hmm.
with how few continues I could like beat the game, and after that
Sure.
just try to do it like once you see on like normal modes,
Mm-hmm.
and then like gradually like go up on the difficulties till you get like lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
Like after that, there was like all the silly challenges at the time, like no bomb or like no miss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No bombs. No. Yeah.
yeah. I don't think it was a very. It's not really approach back then. It was mostly just like free form. There's a very big
Mm-hmm.
emphasis back then on like not really going at it in like a smart way. Everyone just played
Mm-hmm.
at that time and played. Yeah,
For
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
But nowadays, yeah, there's a lot more strategy involved. A lot more how to best approach things. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw. Yeah, I saw you do a lot of like challenges for Toho games, for Toho
Mm,
fan games, like
mm.
no bombs, no miss, and all that. How did you prepare for stuff like that? Like, how do you practice for like doing, especially like no miss and no bombs?
Um, you kind of like approach it like a bit at a time, like one tiny bit of a level. You figure out,
Mm-hmm.
like, see where all the enemies are, like what all the enemies do, what like the best,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the, like the best approach to them. Like the bullets are like aimed away, are like static. Figure all that stuff out, and try to find like the best route through that. That is like the most consistent and
Mm-hmm.
safe. And just do that for like every tiny bit of a stage till you can like chain them all together into the one till
Mm-hmm.
you can do like the entire stage that way. And then go on to like the next stage and the next stage, and then till you get like the entire game figured out. And
Mm-hmm.
from that point on, you just like practice until you can do it consistently. And
Mm-hmm.
if there are still like things that give you trouble, you only practice those.
Sure.
And you can also check like replays of videos of other people that have done it already. See if they have good
Mm-hmm.
strategies, and see if you can copy those if they fit into your route. Like not everything fits into your route, of course, if it's like too hard or not good enough.
Yeah, of course.
Just have to experiment with yourself a lot, see if where you can best use bombs, if you're going to use bombs. Like have to like yeah, it's I think the approach is pretty similar to what like speedruns, where you approach like a speedrun. I think
Yeah.
it's a fairly similar approach to that.
And does Toho have like it does have stage select? I know. Did they add anything new like save states and stuff like that? I imagine not,
Not
right?
officially anyway. Uh,
Yeah. Okay.
Nowadays we have there is a very extensive like practice tool, it's patch that like we can choose like every single section of a stage, every single pattern.
Oh, that's
You can
really
set
cool.
like infinite lives, infinite time. It's a very involved practice mode, and I think it helped a lot to like raise the
Yeah.
general
That.
skill level of the community nowadays, because they're a very good, very good community compared to like 10 years ago or something. Everyone, there's like so many people just doing like full game, like lunatic, no bombs nowadays. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The skill level definitely increased the general
Yeah, I
skill
don't know
level
if you've seen like
of people.
Toho World Cup, which was like
I saw something like last year, I think.
yeah,
Last year or 2 years ago. Didn't watch the one from this year.
yeah, they do like survival and scoring, like between two people. They're like playing at once to see who gets like the least misses or the most score. And it's like
Sure.
really fun to watch. And like the just the general skill level is like insane there. Yeah, you had like a couple of people just doing like a lunatic no Mr. Bomb, like just first try on the spot.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
it was crazy, man. It's insane how good the community is nowadays.
So is the community growing or is still like a niche within a niche?
It's definitely growing a lot. If you just compare to like even like 5 years ago, there's like so many more people, so many more things are being done, so many more events, and like just general things like content. Like I think Shmup Junkie also does like it's like he got like pretty. It's not like maybe a couple of years ago he started doing things and he brought in like a lot of general interest. I think also
Yeah, yeah. It's like history of stuff like history
yeah
of
yeah
Gradius, history of hard type. It's really cool stuff to introduce people to the
yeah, and also
genre.
just like games on Quick. There's been quite a bunch of Shmup demonstrations there and at this point. So I think the general interest in this genre is like higher than ever now, and it brought in quite a lot of people, uh, skilled people as well as just like general people who are interested in the genre. So I think that's it's definitely been exploding a lot in the recent years.
And why do you think is that? Like shmups have been like a niche within a niche within a niche pretty much for years. Like now we see a lot of like new releases, new ports. And not a lot of games are appearing on Steam or on Switch. Like, do you think? Why do you think like people got interested back into shmups? Like, was it because of YouTube? Was it because of like people like you or people like shmup junkies doing that kind of video, or was it like something different?
I know. I think most people just like weren't aware that the games like even existed at all. Like I
Yeah.
think back when I like started my YouTube channel, I think I was basically like the only one like doing things like that. And I've heard like plenty of people who like started because they watched my videos. And,
No, that's really cool.
like like Mark MSX also started from watching me, and he has like a pretty good channel now that does like, produces like a lot of content, a lot of players.
The Electric
Yeah,
Underground,
yeah,
right?
Electric Underground, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of people as well who just started like watching because of me, and then they made videos, and then other people started from their videos, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just people weren't very aware of like how awesome these games were, I guess.
Yeah, people didn't even know they were a thing still, I guess. Like even myself, like I started like I knew what shmup were, but I never really tried it, and started thanks to a friend introducing me to Toho. Play like Toho 7 and went from there. And then got interested in Cave and Mushihime-sama and games like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Like for a while, it was really, really difficult to find like any news and any like footage or anything about Shmups.
Yeah, there's
like now.
Finding information was very sparse. Yeah, just finding just any like general like strategy stuff there was not a lot of it. It's gotten better nowadays. There's like the Shmup wiki where we like post all of our general knowledge on games. So that definitely helps a lot to like spread like this general knowledge, general strategy. Of course, people are making a lot more videos, a lot more commentary videos. So it definitely helps, yeah, just to be like active as a community.
Yeah, always really cool to see like a community like pushing for people to enjoy their games, like especially when they are so niche.
Definitely.
So like, do you like the way Shmups are now, like from like sales and releases standpoint, or do you think they're going to have a much more of a future as a genre, or do you think they will remain niche either way?
I think they will probably like remain niche, like just in general sense, because they're very like hard to approach, unapproachable games.
Yeah.
They're pretty difficult, I've heard. So, but yeah, but I think they'll probably get more interest. It was like it could be a bigger niche than it was before.
Yeah, there's also a lot of new releases, especially from the indie scene. Like even European like developers are starting to like do some shmups here and there. Like you see them on Steam, you see them on Switch. It's really,
Yeah,
really cool.
it's crazy how many like things are coming out. Also new things, new ports. Like there's so much, so
Yeah,
much.
especially the N2 ports and everything like
Yeah,
that.
M2.
Like now they're releasing all the cotton stuff, even if none of them are good.
I think only one of them was bad, I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was terrible. Like the cotton reboot is pretty cool.
Yeah,
The other one,
yeah, I
yeah,
still have to pick that up.
the port had a lot of problems.
But yeah, I think the Cotton, Saturn tribute had like 10 frames of input lag, which is
Yeah, which is
that is
insane.
pretty impressive, honestly. No.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
But yeah, I think the other ones are
Yeah, like
fine.
yeah, the reboot one is fine. I played it. It runs really, really well. Like yeah, the 10 frame of lag is absurd. Like I don't know how they managed to do that.
But
Like even the emulation was still had input lag, but this is way worse.
yeah, it was kind of like a combination of like the games themselves already having quite a lot of lag. Then the emulator they used had a lot of lag. And then the system itself also had a lot of lag. So it's kind of like it goes on top of things. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, really.
Yeah, it really is. But the thing is, like outside of M2, like a lot of ports usually have some problems here and there, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's hard to like make a really good port.
Yeah, because especially with a genre like this, like input lag and like latency in general is really, really, it's a big problem. Like even like a small amount of frames of lag, which you will not really care about in another type of game, in a shmup it gets like a real
Yeah, you
problem.
really feel it in the shmups. Yeah, it's just it's like a general trend, really. Just things are getting more laggier and laggier. It's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, it is, especially with like a lot of consoles now like have like just input lag from the start, either from the controller or from the console itself.
Yeah.
And it's a real
Yeah,
shame.
especially the Switch, I've heard it's like real bad with like input lag.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it is. And so, what do you think? Like, do you think like the shmup genre should evolve to appeal to like more people, or should they remain like this and just focus on being really good for like people that really love them?
I think like a combination of both is probably the best approach. That's basically what like the M2 ports do. They have like a very extensive like practice modes. They have like an arcade challenge mode where you like try to like beat like sections of a stage, and if you get hit, they like rewind you to like a couple seconds back to try again. And that's like a really cool feature for that stuff. You can also set like the difficulty is like 10 different kinds of ways. You get like medals for how well you did and how high the difficulty is, like bronze, silver, gold for like a section for the practice mode. It's really cool system they made, and they also like had like arrange modes that are like more a bit more based towards like more newer people. They have like they
Sure.
generally like make the arcade game, but they make the systems a bit more lenient, and then people get like a taste of like what's it like to like score on the arcade mode, and then I
Yeah.
think that's a really cool like approach to doing things to like appeal to more a general audience.
Yeah, in general they have a lot of options like save states and stuff like that, which work both way. Like they help people that want to practice to do like score run or do like 1cc, and they help people that are new to the genre maybe to be less
Yeah.
approachable, like,
Just like
you know, especially with like
bite-sized stuff. Yeah.
infinite credits and everything like that.
Yeah, the Aspirate port also had like they included like this heroic room where you could like do challenges.
Yeah, I
You
saw
could do like
that.
challenges to get like gotcha tickets, and you get like furniture in the gotcha and clothes and like pets and stuff. I think that's pretty cool for like a casual approach. And then you still have like all the hardcore stuff for just like the fans. So I think that's like a good balance of
Yeah.
things.
So yeah, continue like where they do going with like M2 and stuff like that. Like do a bit of
Yeah,
both.
definitely, yeah.
And talking about difficulty, one thing it always inspired me like was like watching people do stuff like Futari Black, like on the highest difficulty and stuff like that. This level of insane difficulty that only a small percent of people pretty much even try to attempt to do it.
Yeah, there's some really difficult modes out there. They're really difficult games. And yeah, these take out pretty they take quite a bit of practice and time to beat for sure. But
Yeah, it's absurd. Like the true final boss in Futari, it's a I don't know how people do it. Like I have no idea.
it's just practice really and trying strategies. Make sure you have the right strategies, and then just practice and practice and practice until you kind of consistent at it.
Yeah. And talking about difficulty, like one thing, like usually people when they talk about like arcade games, there's always this negative aura about them, like about them being unfair or being like only interested in like in stealing your quarters. What do you think about it? Like, do you really think they are unfair, or they just require a different mindset to beat?
I think it's also a bit of both. I think it's definitely a mindset thing. Also, like plays a part. I think because like how do you? It depends on how you want to see the game. If what you see it as like a challenge to be beaten, or just something that tries to like rob you of of your money. But yeah, nowadays that's not
Yeah,
really a
nowadays
thing anymore.
yeah,
So
the quarter problem is not a thing
yeah,
anymore.
not yet. Unless you're like throwing like a quarter out your window every time you insert a credit or something.
That could be an idea actually.
But yeah, I think it was just if you if you want to like beat a hard game, then it's there for you. And like
Yeah,
yeah,
because I always thought like the biggest difference between like arcade games and like normal, let's call them normal games, it's that the arcade genre in general, even for like beating it in a decent way without just spamming credits, really requires mastery of the system, like in a way that like normal games, if you're playing normally, don't really require you
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, arcade games are kind of like one of a kind, really, because the stuff they do in those games, that like wouldn't fly at all anymore in anything. They're
Yeah,
like really unique in that sense, because they just don't like they don't give a crap. They don't give a crap about your feelings. They just do whatever they want to make the game as hard as possible.
yeah, and that's the beauty
Yeah,
of it in a
exactly.
way.
And it's just up to the player to like just overcome it. And it's yeah, it also like depends on like the game, because there are some arcade games that are like literally impossible to like once you see. They're just like actually unfair. I think
Oh, for example, like I'm really
I
curious
think
about
there
that.
was a Terminator 2 arcade game that was like literally impossible to like once you see. Like even with literally impossible, I mean even with tool assist, it's not possible.
Oh wow, is it that
Yeah, it's that
broken?
broken. Yeah, it's just like
Like what makes it so like impossible, even with tasks? Like our pattern, like just impossible to
yeah,
dodge.
there was like something about like rank that keeps increasing over time, and it just got so high that like things would hit you before you could shoot them.
Oh
I think
wow.
it was like a light gun game or something. If I'm Don't quote me on that, but it was something like that. Where I just got like too fast to physically
Too
physically
quickly,
deal with
yeah.
it. Yeah,
To physically. Yeah, if even a task can do it, like you can't really do anything about
yeah. But
that.
there was like plenty of arcade games where like the true boss is locked behind the ones you see. So they were like definitely like designed that way. So yeah, it's kind of depends per game as well. I'd say.
So outside of like these like fringe cases of like just completely unbeatable games, do you think like an experienced player like yourself can do stuff from the start, like get a new shmup and maybe not do a 1cc, but just get close to it like in the first run?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, like a lot of like general skill like
Yeah, general
carries over a
fundamentals.
lot to like other games in the same genre. So that definitely helps a lot to like speed up the process. Like there's some game specific things that you like can't really carry over that you have to
Yeah,
learn
sure.
again. But general dodging skill that carries over for like every single game in the genre. And that definitely helps a lot. It's also like a pretty fun part, I'd say, because you're kind of like leveling up as a player as well, which makes it easier to
Yeah,
approach newer
absolutely.
games.
Yeah, yeah. I'm guessing fundamentals like tap dodging, like how to
Mm,
read the screen, how
mm,
to read patterns, and all that
exactly, yeah.
stuff. Like, yeah, carries over from one thing to another.
Yeah,
And
no, I'm
no,
just
go
saying
ahead, go
like
ahead.
it helps a lot with quickly learning a new game when you already have like those fundamentals down.
Absolutely. And talking about fundamentals, like, do you have any like any advice for people that wanna like approach the genre?
Um,
Like, should you focus like on anything specifically if you wanna like play for like score or for 1cc's?
I think you should probably like pick a game you really like and then try to spend some time with it, like to try and like once you see it, at least like first loop at least, because that way I think you kind of like learn like the fundamentals that way, just on how to like approach a game, and after that you could like can like develop more your like general dodging ability. I think something like that, yeah.
And then go from there
Yeah,
pretty
basically,
much.
yeah. Yeah, as a starting game, probably I did say that earlier before in different plays, but as Luda is probably a good beginner game because like it's as a cave game, it's fairly It's fairly chill in terms of difficulty. And the general mechanic of the game where you like slow down the bullets. I think that helps a
Sure.
lot with like understanding,
Visualizing like where
yeah,
should you
just
move.
visualizing, yeah, where
Mm-hmm.
how bullets behave. You can see
Mm-hmm.
like more easily see if they're like aimed or like aimed away or if there's a specific pattern. And I think that helps a lot with just
Mm-hmm.
like learning that kind of thing as well. So it's probably a pretty good beginner game. I'd say, yeah, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can see that. Like, especially because like a lot of people, like when they start out, like the general consensus I think is that like people think that the bullets are pretty much random, and like the skill about games is just like dodging everything. Like a lot of stuff like instead is preparation and know where to position yourself pretty much when you need to, like how to differentiate by aimed patterns or not aimed patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
Like,
definitely helps a lot.
mm-hmm,
There's definitely also a lot of randomness as well, but there's also a lot of stuff that you can like prepare in advance. And when you know
mm-hmm,
what's going to come up, you can more easily get past those things by planning out how you approach the thing. Also, planning out like resources also helps a lot with like
mm-hmm,
planning where you use your bombs. That also helps a lot.
sure,
If there's like a pattern that you keep dying to, then you can just plan a bomb for that section. That also just helps a
mm-hmm,
lot with just consistency. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
there's definitely a combination of those two, I'd say. Planning as well as general dodging. Because some sections are just
And
like random, so you have to just have to dodge them.
yeah, you just have to like, yeah, pretty much. And do you like does score like gets into that? Like I know like a lot of shmups have like extend linked to score, but do you think like doing well in the score department can help you like once you see the game? Like are the system intertwined or like they are two different things?
I'd say in most cases they're like two different things. But you can say that
Mm-hmm.
if you learn a scoring route, you also know the survival route.
Yeah.
Because if you learn a scoring route, you're probably going to not get hit.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, you already have the survival down.
Sure.
It's
Uh,
probably a bit harder survival if you're going for score because you're doing like
mm-hmm.
extra things that are like make the game more difficult to get like more score.
Sure.
But it definitely
Mm-hmm.
this definitely helps as well for survival to
Mm-hmm.
if you're playing a tiny bit of score.
Yeah, no, I ask because I usually just go for one CC. Like I do have one CC under my belt. Like I'm still shit at the
Mm.
genre, but I never like got interested in score, and in a way I think it's a shame that like the system is not more intertwined. Like a lot of like beat 'em ups, for example, like do have like stuff like if you play well, you usually get more score, and that score usually like translates in a lot of like extra lives or stuff like that. Like the actually the we were talking it with another guest in another episode, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle beat 'em up on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
NES does exactly that.
yeah. It's
Like if you like if you start to play, like if you start to understand the score system, you're gonna automatically play better because like you usually if you use stuff like throws and understand the throw system, you will be safer and you will get more score, and that score like directly translates to extra lives and stuff like that. So like it helps you like be a better player in general, learning like the scoring route, and it makes like even if you don't want to go for score, like you shouldn't ignore it. Like so like the system are more like
yeah.
intertwined.
It kind of depends on the game, I'd say, because there are definitely some games
Mm-hmm.
where like they have like a general mechanic, like a hyper system, and
Sure.
using hypers generally gives you more score. And if you if you're like chain in Dolpachi Daiojo, and your chain is high, you get more hypermeter from the bees, which translates into more
Sure.
hypers. And that definitely helps to get, if you get like more hypers than usual, that definitely helps for survival as well. So it's, in that sense, scoring is like intertwined with survival as well, because you get more hypers when you score. And and more hypers help for survival. And like Belgrega as well is a game where you have to like suicide to like lower the rank. And if you play for survival, if you play for score, you get an extend every 1 million points. And those extra lives you can use to suicide to lower the rank again. So in that sense, it's also the scoring is also pretty tied to survival in that sense. Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, and talking about rank, like it's always been a mechanic I never really liked. Like, how people in the community like do people in the community like the ranking system? Because it always seemed to me like, especially when you go for survival, that like it hinders you in a way because you're playing well and you're getting kind of punished for it. And once you die and the rank goes down, in a way you're not playing you're playing a nerfed version of the game. Like, to me, it always seems like that.
It kind of depends on like the rank system a game has. I think a well executed rank system doesn't really ever like get to that point. It's just mostly game gets more interesting when you're
Sure.
playing it for like at a high level. So I think it's in those cases it's fine. There are definitely some rank systems that are like really stupid. And, like like Turbo Force is maybe a game. Maybe you know that game, but that's like a really silly rank system where the game gets like almost like impossible. And after certain
Oh
moments,
wow, so
yeah.
you pretty much need to suicide and keep
Yeah.
parts, I guess.
And that game only has 3 extents.
Oh wow.
And it loops infinitely. It's really
Oh, it loops
yeah.
infinitely. Oh
It's a really
wow.
silly rank system. I don't really like it. But yeah,
Yeah, I can see that. Like,
yeah, I think most rank systems do it fairly well though, I think so. Yeah.
so you think they add to the general design of the game?
Yeah, it's definitely a part of the game itself.
Yeah, I know. Like Garega, like you mentioned it before. Like it's really you always like an example of how doing ranking system can help the game.
Mm. Yeah, there are a lot of
And what about
there are a lot of
like?
games with like mechanics, like specific mechanics to the game itself, where the scoring system usually involves like using that a lot. So in that sense, it's pretty tied to like it's kind of tied to like to survival as well. When you just use in that kind of sense, yeah. Just use the thing a lot to get score. Use the thing a lot for survival.
So in stuff like suiciding and like intentionally like losing life or losing bombs doesn't it get in the way, or like it's part of like becomes part of the strategy, and so it increases like the general like strategic like ceiling of the game.
Yeah, definitely is part of the strategy. Yeah. Like in Gregor, you have to like constantly like look at what your rank level is, and based on that, you have to like improvise what you have to do going forward. If it's like too low or too high, there are like things you have to do to manage that. So it's you have to like
Yeah,
a lot of like on the fly decisions that way because of rank.
yeah, it adds another
Mm.
layer of like
Mm.
decision making.
Yeah, and
And I'm guessing like this multiply if you do like if you make mistakes early on, like they snowball, I guess.
yeah, it's also like rank affects the scoring strategies a lot in that game because like enemy HP is also like increased by rank, and metal how fast medals drop also affects by rank. And it's a lot of stuff that you have to like constantly keep in mind and account and juggle, and it's very complex system in that sense. So and I know a lot of people like that kind of stuff. So it's definitely it depends on how each game like implements the rank system to like say
Yeah, of course.
how well it is, how good it is. It,
And how do you like? I'm really curious about something because like I said, I never really try to play for score. Like some shmups, like a like incredibly like complicated scoring system with like different multiplayers, different like hidden stuff in the stages and stuff like that. Like, how do you like start to learn stuff like that? Like, is it something like you like trial and error, or just like a community? Is that a community thing?
yeah, I think it's definitely a community thing. Yeah, because there are a lot of replays, of course, a lot of videos from the Japanese arcades that you can watch from the Japanese super players that they you can watch to like see what strategies they do and then try to like adopt that and see what other people do, see what just trial and error, see what's the best way to go about things. But that's usually when the score system is like really complicated. Like like I'd say Katsui is like really hard to like figure out what like the quote unquote like best way to do it is. So it definitely helps to like get like some references.
And some help from other players. Yeah.
But usually it's not
And did
that
you like?
complicated. Usually it's not super complicated. It's usually like I think the big games. But it depends on the game, yeah, like how to figure out stuff.
And what's this like the is
Like games with
the
like a lot of bullets,
like does
like bullet
the
canceling games, it's usually just like find the spot that has the most bullets on screen. So
yeah, I cancelled all of them. And does the like the communication between like the western side and the eastern side did it improve? Because I know that in the past like the Japanese player pretty much kept to themselves and didn't really want to like give out strategy and stuff like that. Is it still like that, or like now there's more like dialogue between like the two communities?
it's gotten better. It's gotten better over the years, yeah. But there's still like the Japanese side still is like mostly like an offline community. Like
Okay.
they're all just in the Japanese arcades, and they don't really
Yeah.
use like social media that much, I'd say. But there's like the new generation of players that the younger ones, and they all just use social media, of course. So and they've been like getting a bunch of new world records. So there's probably like a bit of a paradigm shift going on in that sense.
They're starting to open
Yeah,
up
like
more
the
to
newer
it.
generation is coming in and changing things for the better, I'd say. But yeah, there's some communication, but it's pretty hard to like sometimes keep in touch with them. Nowadays they have like Twitters though, so but it's all Japanese, so you have to like
Yeah,
know the
it's
language and stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The language barrier, of course, is a problem.
But they're definitely a
Yeah, no,
lot more
it's,
open
it's
than they used to be. Especially yeah, W2N I'd say is like a big example. Yeah, yeah, he's recently started to like answer a lot of questions and upload videos as well. I think that's like really cool. So it's definitely gotten better over the years.
yeah, that's great to hear. Like I like until a couple of years ago, I knew that a lot of like there was like news of like pro player, Japanese pro players, super players, like never giving out like strategy and stuff like that because they wanted like to be like in a way I guess it's way more competitive than like our scene.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Like when I yeah watching from outside, like I see a lot of like big name players like collaborating every time and like just like sharing information here Like in Japan, like it seems like they're more like closed in that sense. So it's really cool to see them like open up and actually like talk both with them and with the other side of the
Yeah, you have
community.
to like keep in mind that it's like one of like the oldest like gaming scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like since like the 1980s. They've been doing it since the 1980s.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like these guys are like pretty old nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a like generational thing, I think.
Yeah, it's a
Mm,
generational thing. It's a
mm,
culture thing. It's always like it's on. So part of it, like you said, is because they're all offline. Like they still have arcades, so it's more like a social thing within like
mm,
the area where the arcade is, and less about like okay, we need to actually talk with other people because we don't
mm.
know anyone that plays arcade, or we don't have an arcade
Yeah, because
here.
this was like all
So
all
yeah.
before the internet, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like local groups, like arcades in the towns. They had like different like they had like groups in arcades, and like these groups would like compete against groups of arcades in other
Mm-hmm.
towns. And there was like that kind of stuff. It's like it's really old
That's
kind of way of
mm-hmm.
competition.
Actually really cool in a
Mm.
way, like having that sort of like local like competitive scene,
Yeah, it's
mostly like with fighting games now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different from nowadays how it used to be.
Yeah. And like talking about scoring in 1cc, like what do you prefer doing? Like do you prefer going for like 1cc and challenge runs, or do you prefer going for score?
It kind of depends on the game, I'd say. Because if I
Mm-hmm.
if I like the scoring system, I'd probably just try to get a good score in it because it's fun to do
Mm-hmm.
if it's a fun system. But for me personally, I find it's um, like most satisfying, I guess, to like do
Mm-hmm.
a good challenge run. Because at that point, I think
Sure.
I'm satisfied with what I got out of the game. That
Mm-hmm.
is of course different for each person, but for me personally, I think that's the most satisfying way to beat a game. And then
Mm-hmm. No, I can see that. Like challenge runs are one of the most fun thing you can do in my
mm,
opinion with games.
I think they got like
Mm-hmm.
the
Like
most value
the
out of the game in that way.
mm-hmm. You also learn a lot more about general like the game how it works. Like
Mm,
when you start to do stuff like no CC, no bombs or no miss, you really start to see like how the game is designed and how the patterns are designed
yeah,
and stuff like that. And it's the same with like action games
yeah.
and stuff like
Sometimes
that.
you
Like
start to see the cracks between between the lines.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very fun, yeah.
Yeah, it gives you a lot better appreciation for the game, or just like if the game is not that good, like you see how broken it
Yeah,
actually is.
exactly.
And talking about action game and stuff like that, do you play other genre, or like do you mainly only interested in arcades?
I play like a bunch of different genres. Always
Mm-hmm.
have. So I quite like platformers, like challenging
Mm-hmm.
platformers. I think that's like Celeste, I guess. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
also pretty fond of like action games. That's pretty big. That's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
big
yeah.
in like Ninja Gaiden back in the day.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I had Ninja Gaiden Black, which
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, that game is one of my
yeah,
favorite.
might as well. It's been a while since I played it, but back in the day, I
Mm-hmm.
like played it quite a lot. Even did like
Mm-hmm.
those silly like karma ones.
Oh, okay, so you played for score even in
Yeah,
Ninja Gaiden.
even back then, yeah, that was like
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago or something.
No, it's a shame like more like action games don't go for the scoring route. Like it does add a lot more. Like Ninja Gaiden is pretty much the only big one that goes for score in that
Yeah,
sense. Like most other like action games are, especially stylish action games, to give you a rank at the end of the mission, and
mm,
that's it. Like you really can't do. much more than getting the best rank.
Yeah, it gives a lot more like replay value, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but with something like Ninja Gaiden, like you have karma runs, like the ceiling is pretty much infinite. Like even now people are discovering new strategies and new ways to do things, to squeeze more karma out of every section.
Yeah, I have to check that out maybe to see what people do nowadays. Because it's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
a while
definitely.
since I played.
No, if you're interested, definitely check it out. Like check out Godfather Dictator or like JTB. Like they do a lot of like stuff with Ninja Gaiden still.
Okay. I'll definitely do that, I think, yeah. Yeah, I remember
So did you?
some
Mm?
really old forum from back in the day that uploaded like Ninja Gaiden videos. This is like
Mm-hmm.
really, really old. This is like 2000 or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah, that was probably
uh,
Iberian forum.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's one of the first.
Yeah, it actually like a forum for Ninja Gaiden is still up. Like it's called NG Realm.
Okay.
And it's one of the like few games that still have a centralized hub, like a forum.
Nice. Yeah, that's a rare thing nowadays. Forums.
Yeah,
Discord killed all of
and
them.
yeah, it's a shame. Like I always say, like a problem we have now with like video games in general is that we don't really have a central like archive to store all the information.
Yeah.
Like most of the stuff you need to like go and know where to look it for. Like you need to know someone that can invite you to this Discord, and even finding stuff and archiving stuff in Discord is pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem I've noticed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we used to have like
Eh,
the
mm-hmm.
Shmups forum. It's still
Mm-hmm.
there, but it's not very used very much anymore. And it was like a lot better to like find stuff on that. And nowadays we
Mm-hmm.
have like 10 different Discords, like where
Yeah,
you have to find the right one and then we have to find the right person, and it's not very useful now.
yeah, it's not really easy to find information if
Mm.
you're new to the community in general because you don't know where to look for. Because even searching on Google, like it's really difficult to find like
Yeah.
Discord servers that are not like the big ones from Reddit and
Yeah, you
stuff like
can't
that.
find Discord things via Google, which is a big
Yeah.
problem.
Hmm. And there's also like the problem of like with forums. Like the cool thing about forum was reading old
Yeah.
threads. Like the information was all there, so you just started reading the threads and like learn all there is to learn. And it actually was cool to see like how people evolved like strategy and stuff like
Mm.
that.
Yeah, it's cool to see sometimes look back on those old threads, see how people were like back then.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And so, do you think like there's something we can do for like community for the Shumap community to just make it more like like information more readily accessible for people that are new to the genre?
I think the recent Shmup Wiki project is probably the best push in that
Mm-hmm.
direction. It's like you have like a wiki thing made where you just post like all of
Mm-hmm.
the general information and the strategies on these games, and
Mm-hmm.
then people can easily check that, can read up on the system, can see what kinds of videos there are, see what the high
Mm-hmm.
scores are. There's like a video index as well with a bunch of videos that you can reference.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now that's really really cool.
Explanations of the rank,
Yeah.
how it precisely works, everything. That's probably the best
Mm-hmm.
push towards that kind of stuff that's been done nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah, because the action game community I think has a similar problem where like finding stuff is really really
mm.
hard. So like having like a centralized thing with the wiki is really cool. Like definitely send me a link. I'll like put it in this in
Oh
the
yeah, definitely,
description
definitely, yeah.
for people that are interested.
Yeah, and like some games is also kind of silly because I've been told for like some
Mm-hmm.
games like the best resource is like all of my videos. And that's kind of yeah, that's kind of sad.
Mm-hmm. And talking about your video, did you ever like thought about doing guides or commentary stuff?
I've done like, yeah, I guess I put like a bunch of annotations in the videos. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and I guess
absolutely.
that's what I've tried to do in like
Mm-hmm.
explaining stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people like that a lot from what I've been told.
No, yeah, they're extremely
Mm.
useful.
Yeah,
And it's also
real
like,
actual real guides. Those are pretty hard to make.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know some people
Yeah,
have.
absolutely. Like, it
I know
takes a lot
some
of
people
time.
have tried to do that. Something like that. I think
Mm-hmm.
Juju Knobi did like a 6 hour
Mm-hmm.
guide on Diojo or something,
Wow. Okay,
explaining
that's
all
cool.
his chaining routes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really cool. So that's also stuff that it's fairly
No, no,
recent stuff
absolutely.
all that's happening. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also like really cool to see. So that's very good.
Yeah, to see this
Mm.
push like for
Mm.
the community. Absolutely. Especially because like even general guides are pretty rare for Shmup. Like how to actually approach the genre at large.
Yeah,
Like outside of like the biggest one I think is still the PDF one, like the full extent of the
yeah,
gem, right?
that's a classic one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's there's some guides some way somewhere that I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
I think also there's some
Yeah, but
games
it's
nowadays made. And I know of two games specifically that try to like teach Shmups the fundamental things.
oh, that's really cool. Which one of those?
There's one on Steam called Barrage Musical, and
Mm-hmm.
it's Damake tutorial, which like tries to like explain like aim stuff and how bullets behave
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
general movement sense, and then tries to like combine all of those in like one stage to like as a final quiz, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay,
But
that's really
there's
cool.
one very big one that is really good,
Mm-hmm.
but it's Japanese only.
Oh,
It's
wow. So
Danmaku.
you can still find it on Steam or?
It's no, it's on a site in Fuyem. Fuyem, I'm not sure if you know that. It's like a Japanese site for free Japanese games.
Mm-hmm.
It's on there,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And it's like the Market Simulator 296, I think. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
in-depth like tutorial game, but it's like divided in like basic, advanced, intermediate, and it
That's really
and
cool,
like explains
actually.
all like different kind of nuances and mechanics, like
Mm-hmm.
squall out, like how you push the screen to the side to like squall an enemy out, and then that enemy
Sure.
can't shoot anymore. Like that's those kind of
Mm-hmm.
like nuanced things. It also like teaches you.
Mm-hmm.
That's like really cool. It also has
So it teaches also like advanced stuff. That's
yeah,
actually great,
and it
really
also has
cool.
like it also has
Because
like
yeah, I think.
demo videos for
Mm-hmm.
each level that shows you how it's supposed to be done. And there's like there's also
Oh, that's
and
really in
there's like
depth,
commentary
actually.
on the side from the instructor. That's really
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Yeah, I have like I think I have a video of that game on my channel, but it's just a stage that it's not
Mm-hmm.
the tutorial itself, but it's kind of what it looks like. And it's a really cool game, and
Sure.
I think someone should probably definitely like translate that at some point because it would probably help the community a lot.
Yeah, it would help a lot. Like if you think about it, like the thing that's missing now, even with like we were talking about M2 ports and all the accessibility option and difficulty option, but tutorial was still lacking. Like it was still really lacking to me.
Yeah,
They don't really teach you anything about it.
yeah, not in yeah, just the fundamental sense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's kind of have to figure it on your own. I think. Yeah.
You know, I thought that's really cool though that there is something like this, even if it's only in
Mm.
Japanese. And do you know who made it? Like, was it one guy or was it like more people,
I
a studio or something?
think it was just a guy.
Oh wow,
Could probably
that's a
can
fucking
probably
hero.
look it up real quick, but I only really see like one name here, so
Oh, if it's only one guy, that the guy is a fucking hero.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah,
I don't even want to imagine how long that took.
yeah. I'll just drop it real quick in the Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, it also teaches like
I'm gonna put it
point
on the screen.
blanking.
I'm gonna put it on the screen in post.
Yeah, it teaches like point blanking as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's secret extents, how to use your bombs. You can see like the screenshots, you can see like all the different levels where it like introduces like everything at a time. And there's like a lot of commentary
Yeah.
from the instructor. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Yeah. Hopefully someone will translate it.
Yeah. I do it myself if I knew how to hack the game, but I don't. Let's go.
No, that's really fantastic. Like, I never knew something this in depth actually existed.
Yeah, but I picked up the other one as well. Get the other one on Steam. This one is a bit more basic, but it's also still pretty helpful.
Sure. You know, it's really, really cool to see people actually do stuff like this.
Yeah, I think this game is only like $2, $2.
Yeah, so yeah, it's incredibly accessible and teaches you a lot of stuff like that. It's really, really cool.
Definitely.
So we were talking about arcade games in general. Like, what genre do you like outside of Shmups? Like, do you like beat 'em ups? Do you like run and guns?
Yeah, I said like platformers. I like action games. I like one and one.
No, in the arcade,
Yeah,
more the arcade
the
sense.
sense.
Like, you used like.
Probably one and gun. I probably like. Because the fairly similar genres. I guess. Like stuff like Metal Slug is like really cool and definitely very fun to play.
Absolutely.
So yeah, probably games like that. I don't really play that many arcade games besides Shmups. I think I have to say I'd probably say like Metal Slug.
Okay. So yeah, Shmups are the main thing pretty much. Yeah, no, I can see that. Like, they're pretty unique genre. Like, nothing really comes close to
Yeah,
it.
but beat 'em ups look very cool as well, though. Probably have to try one of those at some point.
No, they are. Like, they're really different from a mentality standpoint. Like, you need to like play in a different way in which you play Shmups, but they're really, really cool.
Yeah, I've known some people that try to do a couple of beat 'em ups from the Shmup community, and they all like really liked it. So I think I definitely probably would like it as well.
Yeah, and there are still things that like translate, like memorization, learning stages.
Yeah, just general strategy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, general strategy of pretty much every arcade game. And even with beat 'em ups, like, there is still a couple of new releases here and there that are really, really good.
Yeah, that's the new Streets of Rage, right? Came out.
Yeah, there's the new Street of Rage. Yeah, that's actually really cool because it actually does have a ranking system too, like a score ranking system. So like you can do 1cc, or you can just go stage by stage and get the highest score possible in any stage, or just get the S rank if you want to do that. Like, yeah, it's really, really cool. And they added a survival mode now.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah, it has a lot of content.
Nice. Yeah, it's cool that they try to stay close to like the arcade roots while still being like fairly accessible for like a new audience. I think that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the game that does it best in that sense. Like, it doesn't really dumb down the game in any way, but gives the option to just play for like with continuous, or play like every stage, a single stage, so you can like focus on every stage if you want. You can go for like S rank if you want to go for S ranks. You can go for score. You can just play the story. or like there is actually a mode specifically for 1cc, like where you cannot like continue after you're dead.
Yeah, it's really cool to see always. Kind of like
Yeah, absolutely. And there are
kind of like gives people like the gives like people the impression that this is like a cool thing to go for. Yeah.
yeah, and especially it was especially cool to see like a Street of Rage, because like it's not gonna be easy to create a new game in a franchise that it's so important like this.
Yeah, because I think
So it's really cool to see.
the
Yeah,
concept
but
of like one credit clear is not very known, I'd say, nowadays.
yeah,
So it's definitely cool that it like gets like attention, brings like attention to that sort of challenge. It might give people like more, make it more known for more people.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people still like play arcade games just for fun and just like credit feed and that's it.
Yeah,
And it's a shame that more people try, because like there are games that are really really hard, but a lot of games like you can feasibly do it with a bit of practice. Like you don't really need to be like an expert to do a 1cc. And talking back about design, I think like Metal Slug is actually a good example. Like Metal Slug 1, it's not that actually that difficult. Like it seems really 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 hard when you try it for the first time, but that game actually does a lot of like cool design things
yeah, it's a pretty approachable game, I'd say.
to help you. It's an pretty approachable, and actually does like talking about like the going back to the fact that the more people think arcade games are unfair. Like actually Metal Slug 1 is a real example of like a real fair like arcade games. Like the first example that comes to mind is the section in the final mission where you need to shoot down the planes when you are in the boat, and you need to use the machine gun on the boat. And that's really cool because it's a new mechanic that it's pretty much in a way, because you never used like a machine gun in that way, and it's the final mission, but it still gives you time to adjust. Like if you actually stay put and don't do anything for the first wave of like of planes, they don't hit you. Like they are designed to just go and miss.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah,
which is really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool way to like to get a new mechanic in, pretty much, and it's really cool that it happens in the final stage and still like gives you like the time to adjust. And
yeah, it's like a natural tutorializing. Yeah,
yeah,
it's very cool.
which is really, yeah, it's really weird to see it in an arcade game in a sense. Like usually, especially in the final stage, arcade game just like throw you everything at you and just like survive,
Yeah.
bitch. That's it.
Time to get off the cab.
I'm actually curious, going back to action games, like outside of Ninja Gaiden, what do you enjoy?
Let's see. It's been a while since I played one of those. So.
Did you play Ninja Gaiden 2?
Yeah,
Or
yes, I did play the second game. Yeah, not as much as Black, but I still did like Master Ninja on that game, which was really fun.
It's incredibly funny,
A
incredibly
little bit
brutal.
silly at times.
Yeah, like Itagaki didn't give a crap and just threw everything at it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I think.
No, it's a fantastic game. In a sense, it does have some arcade stuff in it. Like more than arcade stuff, NES era stuff in it. Like the really punishing difficulty that doesn't really apply to other games, especially on Master Ninja.
Yeah,
But the game is a ton of fun. If you know, once you learn it, and like you go beyond like the basic stuff, like, where you just get destroyed by IS ninjas, like it gets really really fun.
Yeah, that kind of design where like the weakest mook can still just kill you easily if you guard down. Just really cool.
Yeah, it's a really unique game. Like I don't think like there is another game that can be compared to Ninja Gaiden 2. Like that game is insane. Like it throws everything at you. It doesn't really care. and which makes it really cool and really special to me.
Yeah, it's not restricted by anything. Just what's the coolest thing we can do? We're going to do it. Doesn't matter how silly it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and when it works great. When it doesn't work, it's a problem. Like the worm boss and stuff like that. There are still a lot of broken stuff in that game.
Yeah, there's some things weren't that great. But the most part was really good.
Yeah, and it's a shame they didn't release it. Like they just released the Sigma games, and they ignored like Black and 2 pretty much.
Yeah, I think they lost like the source code or something, I heard.
Yeah, the source code for 2 got lost.
A classic one.
Yeah, it's a real shame. But at least it's you can play it on the new Xbox and everything.
Yeah, and I think the Sigma on the first game isn't that bad compared to like the Sigma on the second game.
Yeah, the Sigma on the second game is not that it's bad, because if you play it like without really thinking about being a Ninja Gaiden game, it's a really solid action game. The problem is that it's completely different from Ninja Gaiden 2 pretty much. So there are 2 different games.
Yeah, I saw like a Let's Play thing on Something Awful. Where he like did both games at the same time. Like completely like compare everything from the original Xbox version to the Sigma version. And that's quite a lot of differences, yeah. Most of them not good.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. They even ruined all the economy stuff, which was in the end of the day, it comes down to taste with Sigma 2 and 2 pretty much, because they are radically different.
Yes,
so it really depends on, and it really depends on what you prefer.
It's mostly the enemy health, I think, is like the big difference.
Yeah, enemy number, enemy health.
Instead of like a lot of enemies all at once, you get like 3 enemies that are really bullet spongy.
Yeah, that are really
bullet spongy. That's like 2 fundamentally different like approaches to
absolutely. And a lot of other stuff they've changed too, like the way money works has been changed, the way upgrades have been changed, the way some weapons or some moves behave have been changed. There are new bosses. Some of the bosses from 2 are not there. Some entire section from 2 are not present anymore, or they don't have enemy. Yeah, it's a completely different beast.
Oh yeah, I also quite like the East games actually. Yeah, not remembered the East ones.
Oh, that's really cool. I never hear people mention the East games pretty much. I played some of them.
Yeah, they're really good. Like the early ones are quite arcade-like, I'd say. They're like fairly short games, but it's like non-stop action, and it's like really cool. And they can get pretty difficult as well if you play them on the highest difficulty.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually much prefer the older ones more than the modern ones.
You mean like
the new like a team-based one?
Oh, the team-based one. Oh yeah. I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, I think
I much prefer the old ones.
I think Old Valgana and East Origin are probably my favorites. Yeah.
I still need to play Old Valgana. I did play Origin. Really loved it.
Yeah, Old is really really good. If you liked Origin, then you'll definitely like Old Valgana.
Yeah, I definitely need to check it out. Yeah, the new ones are cool too, but the problem I have with them, like I played the 8th one, and I played like the one on the PS Vita. I think it's called Memory of Zeta or something like that.
Or E7. I think E7 is also PSP.
Yeah.
I think Zeta is Vita. I think Vita.
Yeah. I played the one on the Vita.
That's one.
On the Vita, and I played E8. The problem I have with them is that they're way too reliant on the just parry and just dodge systems.
Oh yeah, the quick what's it called again?
Yeah, I don't remember the actual name.
But yeah, you can really spam that, yeah.
Yeah, you can actually spam that. And the problem is most encounters play out the same, especially with bosses, to me. Like, you just, like, Especially because you can link both of them. Like you can link a perfect dodge that like gives you witch time pretty much, so it decreases like the speed of the
Yeah,
boss,
it's
and then you can link it with the perfect parry, which gives you a damage boost.
yeah. The flash move, I
Yeah,
think. Flash move and
yeah, flash move and flash block, I think, something like that.
yeah, it's something I
Uh,
think was something, yeah.
yeah. So the problem is pretty much that every boss and every encounter comes down to like link the flash move into the flash block, like spam like the highest damage move you have, and then repeat.
Yeah, that's
Which is a
yeah.
shame because a lot of the design on some bosses is really cool.
Yeah, it's somewhat of a shame. I think it's at least on like the highest difficulty, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
fairly fun to like figure out how to best approach them
No, no,
in that
absolutely,
way.
yeah.
But yeah, I think in terms of system, I'd definitely prefer like the other ones though, the early,
Mm-hmm.
the Origin and Oath. But I think this still
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
Origin, especially with the boss rush and everything, it's a really solid game.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, there are a lot of like arcade stuff in it,
Yeah,
especially with movement and how to actually dodge without a dodge button and stuff like that. It's really,
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. East 8 is long compared,
Yeah, that's another
compared to the
problem.
other
Like
ones.
he says, it's incredibly long, never ends.
Yeah, it's longer than like all the other East games combined, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty silly. It's pretty funny.
Have you, have you tried 9 actually?
Which one? Oh,
The
no.
9. Have you tried 9?
Not yet. It came
Mm-hmm.
out on Steam, I saw not too long ago. So I have to
Yeah.
pick it up at some point. But
Yeah, I need to check it out
I
too.
think in general, from things I've heard, is that it's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
it
It's
seems
good, but
E8.
it's not as good as East 8, is what I've heard for the
Mm-hmm.
most part.
The cool thing is that it's the movement. Like a lot of the movement options are being
Yeah, you
improved,
can parkour in that game
and you
now.
have like, yeah, you can parkour, you can teleport, you can fly, you can glide. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
we went from Adol not being able to jump to being able to jump
Yeah,
to being able to double jump.
yeah.
Now we can parkour.
Needing to bump. Yeah, you
Uh,
needed to bump enemies in the first
yeah.
the first couple of ones. Yeah, this series actually evolved a lot during the
Mm.
years. Like we really started from like the first two ones are way more like basic RPGs
Yeah,
more than like action.
they're PC 88 games for sure.
Yeah, with the bump
Mm.
system, which actually was really cool outside of like of some like absurd bosses like the bat one.
Yeah, it worked surprisingly well, I'd say.
Yeah, and it gives you like a different layer of strategy to how to
Mm.
approach enemies. It's really interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you're pretty much one of the first people that actually mention this.
Okay.
Not many people, not many people play that game.
Yeah, it's fairly obscure, I still think, yeah. But
Hmm.
they're really good, so.
So going back on topic on Shmup and stuff like that, like how did you approach YouTube? Like when did you start posting on YouTube from the start, or did you wait for getting good enough to post on YouTube or stuff like that? Because like I see that your channel is one of the biggest one actually in the Shmup circle. Like a lot of you have a lot of
Yeah,
following for being for like so niche
somehow,
games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you don't know how that happened, or you went with a plan to
I
actually
had no plan, man.
you had a plan.
I just uploaded some random videos at some point, and
Mm-hmm.
then at some point it got big. I'm not sure. No, I think back way back in like the earlier days, when I still
Mm-hmm.
when I was got like into Toho, there were like a bunch of other players also like uploading stuff, and not sure if you've heard of like Gafford and stuff. But I got pretty
Yeah, yeah,
inspired by
sure.
that, and so also uploaded some videos of things I did, and I
Mm-hmm.
just like kept doing that, and then at some point I like branched out to other games, other arcade
Mm-hmm.
shmups, and fan games and all that stuff, and yeah, it just got at some point it just got as big as it is now, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not really sure how it happened. I didn't really plan to do that. I just it just is. So
It
yeah.
just happened, yeah. I mean, it's really cool to see like more YouTube channels in general being more in getting into shmups and playing shmups without actually with an actual following.
Yeah, I think
Like
it probably happened because I was probably one of the first people to like
mm-hmm.
upload like videos of that kind. So that
Mm-hmm.
probably had like something to do with it that it grew the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
Like nowadays, it probably wouldn't wouldn't happen again. So mm.
Yeah, with how YouTube is now, I don't think.
Yeah, and also there are like just so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
more people posting videos of that kind, so
Mm-hmm.
not really that unique anymore.
Yeah, yeah. In a way, yes. But yeah, at that level though, I don't think there are too many people that actually play at that level and upload on YouTube.
Yeah,
Like we do have some,
yeah.
especially big ones. Like the other big one I can think of is Iconoclast
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that does arcade games. Most of the others are like there are extremely talented players like Kiwi and stuff like that, but they don't really have much of a following. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's a real shame, yeah. I think it's mostly all the really old guys that have like the most following.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like people that like specifically tried, like Shmup Junkie and
Mm-hmm.
Tactical Underground and Mark. They like really tried that the algorithm game. And it worked out for
Yeah.
them pretty well, I'd say. So yeah, I think it's definitely that way, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, but without YouTube works
Mm.
now, it's really actually difficult to uh, start to create a community or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Discoverability is not really great on YouTube, and yeah, especially with like niche genres and niche stuff. Like, not a lot of people are interested in watching like 1cc or stuff like that.
Yeah, most people don't know about it either, so
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, events and stuff like that are helping. Like there's a lot of cool like tournament and stuff like that are happening that I think really
yeah,
help to
definitely helps, yeah. I've heard some
like get interesting.
I've heard that quite a lot of people, quite a bunch of people started playing Tour because of Tour World Cup. That's so that's
Hmm.
cool to hear that it
Yeah, Toho in general, I think is one of the best gateway to shmups, especially because like it's still niche, but it's kinda well known, and a lot of people are interested in it for like different reasons, either because they like the characters or they like the music, or they like the lore or stuff like that. So and then they start to get introduced to get introduced to the
yeah,
genre. That's
yeah,
really cool.
exactly. It's was the same for me. So and
Yeah, especially now that like most new toll games are on Steam, which is really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, most people I know like started with Tour. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, me too actually. Like a lot of people I hear like they started with toll, myself included, started with toll 7
yeah. It's the
and then
most
moving
well
from
known,
there.
so it's not really that big of a surprise. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just what most well known one.
Hmm.
So most
Yeah, and it also like in a way it's a gateway because like it's not really it's kind of different from like games. Like you need to approach it in a different way. I feel.
yeah, they're quite different in terms of like style and how you approach things.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely very different.
Nice pattern, especially like there are more about Toe is way more focused on specific patterns you need to learn.
Yeah, Toho is
Like I feel like Cave is more focused on fundamentals.
I think though you can, it's more random, I'd say. I think you can
Mm-hmm.
freeform a lot more in those games.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really have to learn a whole lot, like in general. I
Mm-hmm.
think if that's also helps, I think, with just general like accessibility.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely more accessible than games like
Yeah,
Cave's
cave games
games.
demand a lot more from you. That's
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Like even on the normal and easy difficulties, like they still like kick your ass if you don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the problem with Toho was like obscurity pretty much. Even inside like Shmups are still niche, but Toho was even more. Like if you didn't know what Toho was, it was really difficult to find it. You needed to go in Japanese site or finding it in some way.
Mm.
Yeah, now it's a lot better with everything.
Yeah, I think it's getting
Mm-hmm.
a bit more popular again nowadays. It's I think a big
No, no, absolutely,
resurgence, I
yeah,
think.
absolutely. Yeah, it's really cool to see like a genre which was pretty much close to death for a long time, actually like getting new life and getting new releases, getting new ports, getting new interest in general.
Mm. Yeah, it's always was not really quite dead. It was more
Mm-hmm.
dormant.
Dormant, let's
Yeah,
say
yeah,
dormant.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's definitely a
Yeah,
lot
it's
more stuff happening nowadays than it used to be.
yeah, it doesn't happen that often to see like a resurgence like
Mm.
this. Like especially the coolest thing to me about shmups in new shmups releases is that contrary to other genre, they really stuck to the roots. Like they didn't really change the formula to appeal to a mass audience. They didn't really shy away from like the difficulty or stuff like through last bosses and stuff like that, which is really
Mm.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Like too often I think like genre start to reinvent too much of themselves to try and like revitalize the genre and lose what make them special.
Yeah. Yeah, you have
So
you have quite a lot of those games, I think.
mm-hmm.
Like Euro shmups, you call them.
Yeah.
They're kind of like really, I guess, dumbed down, I guess. The mechanics a lot
Mm-hmm.
in favor of like grinding upgrades and stuff for
Mm-hmm.
health bars and stuff. But yeah, those games are also there for people who like them. But I think it's cool that they both kinds stay at
Yeah, still
success. Yeah,
exist.
yeah.
Yeah, and even now, like more like there are a lot of cool games from the Western side. Like especially from Hindi, like Devil Engine is really great. Like Zero
Mm.
Ranger has been great. Like Blue Revolver
Yeah, that's also
too.
really good games.
There's a lot of like stuff coming from the West.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought of that 5 years earlier. Like like in the earlier days, wouldn't have thought of that. No, so that's
Mm-hmm.
also really cool. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool to see. And yeah, with the indie scene, I think helped a lot to actually like make people do what they wanted to do
yeah,
and create more and more niche stuff. It's really cool to see
yeah. There are
stuff
new
coming
games
out.
coming out. Like so many are coming out like all the time. It's hard to
Yeah,
keep up
yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Toho too, like fun games are coming to Steam and now are
Mm.
more readily available. And then you have like even R-Type got a new release, which I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting that when like the
that was wild.
yeah, wasn't really expecting an R-Type. Like in a way, I think there is a bit more interest in arcade in general now, even with like stuff like the new Ghost and Goblins and stuff like that, more arcade design.
Yeah, I think a new one also
Yeah,
came out, didn't it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was really really cool to see. Wasn't expecting, and the thing is, people like it. Like I wasn't expecting like new players to actually like something like difficult like Ghost and Goblins and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see that there is still a market for stuff like this.
Yeah, I think it's been a general lack of those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Made
absolutely.
it that people think it's now interesting to see them again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, one genre I think like it's still missing. It's the action platformer stuff like Ninja Gaiden, the original Ninja Gaiden, and stuff like that.
yeah.
Like the only one I can think of is like a recent one is still Assault that went on that route.
Oh, those kind of games, yeah. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
fairly rare, yeah. You don't really see those.
Yeah. Most people when they go for the 2D platformer action, they go for Metroidvania pretty much and don't really do more linear like arcade stuff.
Yeah, Metroidvania is like the bulk of everything that comes out
Yeah.
nowadays.
Oh, actually,
Oh,
talking about
the
Metroidvania, have you ever played Rabi-Ribi?
oh, which one? Rabi
Rabi-Ribi.
Ribi. Ah, yeah, I played it. I
Uh-huh.
played it. Yeah, I've not finished it though, but I have to get back
Mm-hmm.
to it at some point. I played up to like I think the first credits. There are
Mm-hmm.
multiple credits in this game.
Yeah. There are multiple final
Yeah,
bosses, multiple routes, and multiple
but yeah,
stuff.
that game is really really good.
Yeah, it's really cool to see like Shmups element in Untitled Chapter.
Mm.
Like the only other game that does that is like Yoko Taro stuff with Nier, pretty much,
Yeah.
but not on that level, like it's just surface level and stuff like that. But in Rabi-Ribi, it's like part of the general design, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, it's a really really good game. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably underrated as well. I think
Yeah,
I think a lot of people
absolutely
like
obscure.
bounce off the art style.
Yeah, kinda.
Like
Yeah. If
you
you're if
wouldn't
you're not
expect
in,
this game to be so good, but it is.
yeah, you see like bunny girls and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and you don't really expect like this level of polish and this level of quality. Like even on the Metroidvania side, I feel like it's a really cool game. There are a lot of way that you can skip stuff, you can do stuff out of order, and which is really really cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
secret mechanics, secret like moves that you can do that you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you don't know that the game never tells you. You can
Mm-hmm.
use like sequence break stuff. Just really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's been an hour and a half. So I think if you don't, do you wanna add anything else? Do you?
Time flies.
Yeah, time does fly. Do you wanna add anything else? Because I pretty much asked everything I wanted to ask.
um, think we went over most things.
Mm-hmm. It's been fun. If you wanna like plug yourself, tell like viewers where they can find you, what you do.
Uh,
Like I'll of course link all the channels and all the stuff on the description. So if everyone want to check it out, you can check it out.
um, I guess my YouTube channel. I guess
Mm-hmm.
is one. Uh,
You don't stream, right? You don't stream on Twitch or stuff like that.
I do, but not
Mm-hmm.
often.
Okay.
It's mostly there for the fun of it, I guess.
Yeah. Every link will be in the description, so anyone that is interested can go check it out. Like, do definitely check it out. It's an amazing player. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being a guest. It was fun. It was interesting to talk about arcade games, which is usually something we don't do. I don't do.
Yeah, it's been super fun. Yeah, super
Uh,
fun.
yeah, glad you enjoyed it. And thank you everyone for
Yeah, I
listening.
guess
Thank you again.
I need to plug. I guess some.
Yeah. Plug yourself if you want to plug yourself.
Guess I have to plug like the Shmups Discord. I guess.
Absolutely. I'll
Mhm.
just add it on In the description, I'll add the wiki too, and all the games we'll talk about will be there, so everyone can check everything out.
Yeah, check out the other guys I mentioned as well. They make a lot of good content. So
that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you again for being a guest. Thank you everyone to check for having listened to the podcast, and see you guys later.
Bye, man. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye.